This is Lizzie with the Emo Social Club, and we're here at House of Blues with Nate from Anberlin today, and he's just going to show us around with the day in the life of the drummer of Anberlin.
Here we are. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is the touring date with Copeland and also the Dangerous Summer. So you guys have kind of been on the road for a few dates. So how's that been so far?
Good. We're kind of near the end. The last show is April 6th in Orlando, so it's been great. We started in Tennessee, and so we've just been going through, and it's been a great tour. It's been really fun, and this has been the longest tour we've done in a long time, so it's really been cool to just get back out and do it all. So
yeah, and you're doing it for Nevertake Friendship Personal.
We are, yes.
Great album. I
Thank
saw a little bit of it when we were Young Fest, but we were caught in the press tent, so couldn't see all of it.
Yeah, I think for us, this tour has been cool. Just doing the whole thing with Matty, we've been able to really settle in. I feel like we've just we worked on the production a lot before the tour, and then just being able to get out and play it consistently. And like I said, towards the end of the tour, it feels way more dialed. The early shows, it's kinks getting out of them and just kind of working through stuff. But feel really confident and stoked on kind of the show that we're putting out right now. So
that's awesome. Yep. Well, let's have you take us along and show us what you're doing to get kind of set up here.
This is what I do, just back and forth through the stairs all day. It's funny because if you haven't played here, you'll hear about it. People talk about this Chicago, the stairs. But then we played here, I don't know, probably over 10 times for sure throughout our career.
Yeah.
Every time we're here, I think maybe it won't be as bad as I remember. And then I start walking, and I'm like, holy shit! It literally,
that's spooky.
Don't drop your, well, we're not even at the top, so it goes further. There's two more. Okay, look. Wait, let's do the whole thing. So here's the very top. So now we can get the full dressing rooms, and it is funny that the dressing rooms are at the very top. It's almost like they would have designed it where it's the first area is where you don't, and then the stage is right above it. Dude, it really does.
I think that's funny because you have to go and perform, and then you're already out of breath, and then they're like, get upstairs.
And it is. I love playing this venue. It's a great venue. We, there's some fun shows here. But the bus is and we'll go down there, but it's in a dark alley. You got no phone service, so it's as far as the other things besides the show and the stage, it's a brutal venue. If you're lucky, you might catch some of the biggest rats you've ever seen.
I believe that.
One time we were down here, and I was paced when I'm on the phone. I was talking to my wife, and I was just up there somewhere because I think you get better service there. And literally the biggest rat I've ever seen, bigger than New York. I will say I've seen big ones in New York, but this one ran by and I thought it was a cat.
That's terrifying.
And it was so anyway. So this is it. Beautiful.
The beautiful life of a touring band in Chicago.
So anyway, that was the journey.
That is the journey. So what are some things you kind of do, though, to get ready before you go on stage?
So I've changed a lot over the years. I kind of always went back and forth with should I be practicing with sticks or a drum pad? For me now, I do a lot of stretching, just a ton of normal stretches and kind of work, just getting looser.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of get together as a band and play music, or we'll through our USB speaker or whatever, or Bluetooth speaker. And we just play through stuff and all get pumped together as much as we can. And then for me, I just stretch and kind of get loose and ready to play.
Nice. What kind of music are you guys listening to get amped?
It's all over the place. There's a few reoccurring songs we've been playing for years. It's normally way heavy.
Yeah, okay.
Just because I'm not super heavy, but when it's the right heavy, it's so much fun. So we usually just play a lot of that stuff. And then Matty, our new singer, his new album with his other band, Memphis, I've been playing that a lot just because I'm it's just for him, it's just fun. And for me, the songs are great, so it's been fun to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How has it been with Matty? We interviewed Matty during the 20 Years of Tears tour, actually, with Christian.
Nice.
So that was like the first time you guys were really out with Matty, and I know that night was a little bit shisty with the...
I was actually not there. I just had my son, so I stayed home, and my brother-in-law was playing drums on that tour. I came out towards the end. But yeah, I mean, the group chat was very lively that night after the show. Apparently they had like terrible just technical issues and a bunch of stuff that went wrong. So hoping to change that tonight and have less of that. So
yeah, and ideally too, Matty has probably become a little bit more comfortable playing with all with you guys, because you guys have kind of been like on the road for almost like a full year straight. I feel like it's always like you guys are announcing another tour or another show run.
Yeah, after that last summer tour, which was really long, it was like 12 weeks or something wild. We did a few more things at the end of the year, and then going in this year we're doing this, and then after we're going to start working on new music, and then announcing some more stuff this year that we have going on. So I mean, it's just, we still will never go back to how we used to tour, which was like 8 to 10 months out of the year. We all have family and kids, and so none of us want to be on the road that long, but definitely going to be doing more than we have, since we got back together in 2019. Obviously, pandemic slowed it down a little bit, but the goal is to, do as much as we can physically and mentally and emotionally. So, but I mean, Matty's just given us a chance to kind of keep things going, because there was a point where it was kind of just going to be done again, and so the fact that it's like worked and is working is really cool. Very, very thankful for sure.
Yeah, how did that conversation kind of come about between you guys, Steven, and then Matty too? Because I remember us watching the video, and we were like, "Oh my God, like what happened here?" I understand Steven's reasons why, which is fair, but I wonder how that conversation went between everybody.
It was so none of us really knew Matty. Steven was like friends with him through like Instagram. They would like keep up, and I guess they'd hung a few times at festivals. But our guitar player Christian called me. He's like, "Hey, I just talked to Steven, and he's like basically told me like he cannot do any type of touring at all." And so he's like, Steven had the idea to have another singer, and I was like, that never works. Like, I was just instantly, I was like, all right, this is it. We're breaking up again, which is, I was at peace with all of it. Just we've already had such a good career. I was very thankful. Some bands only get a couple of years, so the fact that we had done as much as we have, I was like, hey, it's okay. But he was like, Christian told me that Steven had already reached out to Matty. He like wanted to bring us a solution without just being like, hey, I can't tour, figure it out, which is really cool of him, and honestly awesome to where he already talked to Matty. So he told Christian, Matty really wants to do it. So we were like, okay, so we all met, the four of us, me, Christian, Joey, and Dion, just to like even discuss like what we wanted to do, and like, do we even want to try this? And then we hopped on a call with Matty, and I didn't know him at all, and instantly we were just like connected, and I just felt he was very like way more excited than I thought he would be. I thought it would just kind of be like, yeah, like I like Anberlin, but he was like beside himself, excited, because he was like, I grew up on y'all, one of my favorite bands. So I was like, all right, maybe this could work. Obviously this late in our career, like even having a fill-in singer could be really tough, and some people just not care at all. So we were unsure of how it would go, but just through time, like being consistent, touring as much as we can, just working hard. I think it's cool to be on this tour and see that it is working. The shows have been amazing. They've been super fun. The whole morale of our band is in a very healthy spot. Whereas before it wasn't as much, just not in any one person's fault, just with difference of opinion, and we've been doing this so long together. So Matty really did bring like a whole new breath of fresh air for us, because he's one of the hardest workers I've ever met. He kind of really pushed us to be like even more professional and dialed, and again, he just cares a ton. So it's really fun to be in a band with someone like that. It's really excited constantly, and like, we should do this, and I got this idea, and so it's been nice. It's been really cool.
No, that's awesome. And yeah, like you said, there's been so many bands that have been like getting different singers and everything. Yeah. And it is like a 50-50 type of vibe.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we could have done this tour and it's like no one came, which is like, but we were down to try, and the promoters and everyone, it was cool to feel excitement from other people as well. And then obviously re-recording Nevertake and releasing that was kind of a cool moment too. And I think fans were like, all right, like they're trying really hard to do it right, be respectful of the past, but still like push for the future. So it's been like a good mix, and we're just taking like one step at a time, which I think is really fun, just to see what's on the other side of it. If it feels right, we'll do it, and if not, we won't do it. So is it getting loud?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say we can move it along to the next place.
A little rumbling, I feel. You want to go? You want to brave the stairs?
We could brave the stairs. That's okay.
Okay.
Sure.
That's
we can.
probably, yes.
We can get
that.
it. Yeah,
Let's
we can
do
show
that.
everyone the freight elevator.
Yeah. Oh, look at that timing. Are you gonna stand?
I guess so.
You can pull up.
I was gonna say, yeah, we just grab another.
Lizzie and I are going to switch mics on this part. Hi, Brian's in the camera now. So we were just walking around, and we started talking about Nevertake. You guys re-recorded Nevertake Friendship Personal, celebrating the 20-year of it with Matty, but you also re-recorded it with Matty on vocals. So what was the decision to do that? Because a lot of people now are doing their like 20-year albums, but obviously Matty being a new singer with it, it's like, how do we decide to like go and do it with him? Yeah,
it's a good question. I mean, we kind of thought about it last year at some point because we knew we were going to do this tour. And for us, you know, with Matty being so fresh to the band, not everyone saw us last summer with him. So the whole, you know, when you're doing like an anniversary tour, there's a lot of nostalgia that comes with it. So there was that thing of like, how do we show fans that like he's really good and he's also really respectful of what we've done in the past because he is a fan. So we were like, yo, why don't we re-record that album? So it kind of just was like an idea, and they were like, yo, we should just, and then the plan was to drop it like in early February before the tour. Yeah. But just with stuff with the label, we turned it in a little late. It was like kind of harder than we thought. We thought it would take like 2 seconds. We're not, you know, we were just like, oh, we've played these songs before, let's just get through them. But then we just really wanted it to be good, so we spent more time on it, So then it released March 21st. But yeah, the idea was just to like, we also thought it'd be really fun. And for Matty, he was like a big fan. He was like, this is like a dream to do these songs. So yeah, you got all of Steven's like vocal stems to make sure he's doing everything perfect, make sure all the lyrics are right. So it was a ton of work for him. It was a ton of work for all of us, but we just thought it'd be fun. And we wanted it to like sound sonically better. I mean, you know, without sounding too old. When we recorded that in 2004.
Yeah.
Technology's changed a lot.
I was going to say, it's very updated.
20 years, yeah. So wanted to sound bigger, wanted to obviously sound, you know, sonically more modern. So, and then again, just to give, you know, fans and people to hear Matty sing these songs before they come out to the show. So,
was there any moment in re-recording it where you were like, we did this the first time we did it, and I've hated it ever since, and now 20 years later?
There's a handful of things like that I was like, I mean, that happened like a week after the original came out. I was like, damn it, I should have done this, or like whatever. So we've been playing those songs live for 20 years, so little things would happen where like Dion and our bass player would lock in a different way, and we would just change something. So this is going to be perfect, probably.
Yeah, we'll give it a second.
I mean, they're definitely about to sound fully,
they definitely
so
are.
It might take a little bit.
All right, we had to move.
It's a day in the life.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Dangerous Summer started sound checking, so we had to move. But I asked you what you changed on the re-recording. So what was like one moment that you're like, this one really has to be different?
For sure. So a big thing though is we really did want to be really respectful of it because we're already introducing a new singer. So there were conversations like, how far should we push it? Should we like change this song completely? What would we do to it now if we were writing these songs now? And then we quickly were like, that might be too much of like a shock for fans. And then people also, you know, this is how this kind of works, might like blame Matty. You know what I mean? If they would be like, he came in and changed the band. And he was like, he was like, make it clear, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm stepping into y'all's bands that you've been building for 20 years. I don't want to do that. I'm not here to do that. He's like, I want to, you know, be as respectful as I can to the whole process and to your fans. So we didn't change anything majorly to where it was like, I think I remember this song. We wanted it to hit the same way. We just wanted it to sound better. Matty added some harmonies that weren't in the original. He changed like one part where he sings up higher. There's like you know, I don't know if you've heard it, but like there's a few screams on there, but not like Memphis screams where it's like angry. It's more like still in line with what we would have done back then. And there is on the first song of that album, we had our friend Ryan Clark, who's the singer for Demon Hunter. He worked a tooth and nail the time. He did the artwork for that. We were like, hey, we have this idea for a scream without it sounding like a hardcore band. So that's kind of what Matty emulated on Nevertake. So the goal was just to like, the little stuff is like, we didn't fade out any songs. We faded out like 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah.
So we ended them how we do it live, because obviously you can't fade out live. So we would have to figure that out years ago, like how should we end this song? So we just ended them all like we do live. So if for a fan, if they've seen us play these songs a lot, they know how we're going to end it. Yeah. Not that that's a big change, but we just wanted it to feel like what we've been playing live for the last like 20 years. So, but yeah, it was super fun. Super fun.
Well, I like it. I had to tell her, I'm like, I mean, I don't know if there's like, 20-year-old fans that have been listening to the band for the whole 20 years, and they're very, I hate change. I hate it when something is different than what I'm used to.
To some extent.
Yeah, but I mean, I've liked you guys for a long time. I'd say, sort of like on the ancillary, like I've seen you at Warped Tour, I've seen you at all these shows, but I'm like, yeah, I like that band, and I love their stage show.
Yeah.
And then like we did Nevertake Friendship Personal as like an album review last year, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is for me. And listening to the new, like I've obviously been seeing you guys now for the past year and listening to it again and again, and now I listen to the new one. I'm like, I kind of like this a lot. This sounds really good. Awesome. The new like, I think it just is like it's produced like it came out in 2025 versus 2005. 100%. And like I don't know if it's I don't want everything to sound like it's on the radio, and I want that raw sound, but it's like the balance of it still is there to me.
For sure, that's awesome, and that was the goal, because it was like, some of the poppier ones on the original. The way they turned out now, I'm like, it could come out now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like
A Day Late was the one where I'm like, I don't really like this original one, and I really like it on the new one.
Dude, that's funny you said that, because like Stationary was a poppy one.
Yep.
And Day Late, like I've been in this band since I was 15 years old, 14 years old. And so it was weird to hear these songs finish. I'm like, it feels like new songs. Like, because not that I didn't like Day Late. You might have to cut this out. I'm like talking shit about it. No, you can leave it. But
He's gonna call you
there's certain songs. I mean, that's with any band. You're not every band is not going to love every song they put out. So Day Late was always ones that I was like, eh.
Yeah.
And then when Matty did it, I was like, oh shit, this song's good. Like there was something about it. Like it sounds like, I'm a big fan. I don't think it sounds like this, but like I'm a big fan of like Story So Far. I like love that band. And some of those, not that even Matty sounds like him, but there's something about it that I'm like, if you never heard the original and this just came out, I think a lot of people would be like, damn, this is cool. You know what I mean? So that was fun. There was like certain ones that like, and also like, the way you can kind of control recordings now, like the way you can like grid drums and everything's just so much tighter now, which is like how we are live. And we were only a band for a couple years when we did Nevertake. So not that we were sloppy, but I'm a better drummer than I was when I was 15.
20
you know
years
what I mean?
experience,
I've learned a lot. But everyone's tighter with their stuff. Everyone's like better at their craft. So it's not that we like manipulated Nevertake, where it's like everything's so tuned and structured, but like it's just how we play these songs, because we've been playing together for the last 20 years. So it was cool to finish it and be like, damn, this is like, sounds modern, but it's not like annoying. We didn't add anything that would date it to 2025, right? You know what I mean? We didn't add something where you're like, all right, they're trying too hard to make it like modern. It just automatically sounds more modern because the process has gotten better.
Yes.
The instruments, there's more options for guitar tones and vocal treatments, and everything just feels like, more like locked in. So.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, we might cut this out, but I'm like, everything today sounds like it's written for the radio, and it's written all the same, and it all sounds exactly the same. It's cool to hear songs that are written in that structure, and like now it just has like this updated sound. I'm like, the sound was never the problem. It's like song structures and how things are made for the radio just sounds like it's the same thing.
It's a formula that everyone sticks to, and it's like, how do you quantify music? And that's what people are after now. It's like, when we were making that record, we were not thinking about radio. That was the furthest thing.
Yeah.
We were like, how do we make cool songs? That's all we thought about. And then, Feel Good Drag did really well, and Paper Thin did really well. And it's like, but we weren't like, what's the formula to get on the radio?
Yeah.
And so I do think you're right that like a song like Day Late, I don't even think that is like a single. Like I think, meaning in today, if we're like, we're a new band and we take it to a label, and like, this is what we want to be our first single, they'd be like, the chorus isn't catchy enough.
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't do this, this, and this, which is what makes a big chorus now.
Right.
So Day Late is like, but hearing it modern, it is fun because you're not like, it doesn't sound like, here comes this big candy type of chorus. It's just like mindless, you know what I mean? So it is fun to hear. Even like our last song on the album was like 7 minutes long. It's like a dancey vibe. It's called Dance Dance. But like it's got this vibe that, again, not single, not even like super catchy, but in the context of now with the re-recording, I'm like, damn, this has like a vibe to it that's like, you know, I don't know, just different. So
I agree.
Even with like Feel Good Drag, this new recording of it with the ending, I was like, okay, this sounds like what I've heard before. Yeah. This is great because I personally like the original, the longer form version of Feel Good Drag with more of this. Yeah, and at the end too with the outro, with I was like, oh wait, this kind of hits. This is really good.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we actually. So when we re-recorded it for New Surrender, it's hilarious. There's 3 versions of this fucking song. It's crazy. But we were like, a lot of fans, when we re-recorded it for New Surrender, a lot of the original fans were like, oh, I miss Steven's scream, and I miss the double chorus, and I miss this. So I went back to the original and listened to it, and I was like, I want to get closer drum-wise to that. So I changed the kick pattern back to the original. We extended the thing, and then Matty did the screams, and then he added the scream at the very end. Because so many fans were like, we missed the scream. So he like did the scream and then added another one to be like, all right, we're going to do that as well.
Like, we're so back, guys. Yeah, don't even worry.
We're back, baby.
So out of these 3 versions, which one is your favorite version?
I mean, it's got to be the new one. I mean, for me, it's I would have said before this, I would have said the original.
Yeah.
There is something raw about that because that song was like a last-minute addition in Nevertake. It wasn't finished. Steven like flew on, then he had to fly back, and none of us even heard it. The vocals, and then when they were finished, they sent it to us. And we're like, this song's awesome. And then so that's why we re-recorded it for New Surrender, because we felt like it never really got a shot on Nevertake. And then that was our biggest song ever. So, but now with the new one, I mean, it's so tight. I changed some of the stuff on the bridge drum-wise, and just it's got like a feel to it that I would have to say is my favorite one now. So.
No, that's so awesome. Yeah. When I saw the Nevertake, I was looking at Spotify and I said, what's happening here? Then I looked at the press release and I said, oh, this makes way more sense to kind of make it, I don't want to say cohesive in the sense, but I want to say that it brings it, just gives it a new life, a new energy, especially with awesome. People who, I still talk to people now, and they're like, wait, Steven isn't in it? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know where you've been, bestie.
Well, and we've been like we're like kind of writing our story as it goes, because originally Steven was like not sure how long he would have to. So originally it was like, Matty, can you just do this year? And then Steven's just still kind of like, I can't really do anything. So it's either we just stop or we keep finding, this movement with the flow with Matty. And so that's where we're at now. We're just going to keep doing it until, because again, it's kind of working. This tour's been awesome. And we're like, why stop? So we're just going to keep kind of pushing it and working on new songs and stuff. So
yeah, and when can we expect some more new music?
So after this tour, we're like hitting it hard. We just had like a band meeting and just what we want it to be like. We always sit down before every album. We're like, what do we want to accomplish? And in the past it's changed. It's been like, we want to push ourselves artistically and with different instruments and try this and this. And then it's like, what do we want to do with this? We have Matty, who's like an asset to like, he's such a good writer, super prolific with like, just really dialed. So we're like, what do we want this to be? So we're writing a lot currently. And then we have like a bunch of songs that we had in the past that never got really used, which is how High Stakes kind of came about. Joey, our guitar player, has written so much stuff, and they didn't not get recorded because they're not good songs. It's just like Steven couldn't write to it, or he didn't have an idea for it. So we're going back to some of these demos that are like 10, 15 years old.
Okay.
And we're like, this is cool. We like this element. This chorus is good. This verse is good. So there is like an element of, I don't like when bands get back together and they only are trying to play into like the old stuff.
Yeah.
Like as in like, we're just going to sound like we're trying to recreate 2004, which we don't. I like trying to be respectful to that side, but Anberlin, we're all older now to where we're not going to be writing like we're in our early 20s. So I don't want to have it feel like not believable if all of a sudden we put out an album and everyone's like, sounds like you are 20 again. It's like we want to still be like respectful of the journey that we've had as musicians and apply what we've learned. But I do think kind of bringing back, especially because Matty's such a big fan of the band, especially the early stuff, he really works well in that world. When he hears like an old demo, he gets excited because he's like, this sounds like it could have been on Cities, and we're like, well, it was written for Cities, we just didn't use it. So then his brain gets going and we change a lot, and it's never just as the old demo. Like even High Stakes changed drastically, but kind of using some of that to spark our writing process. And at this point, like without this, not to sound cocky, I'm like, I'm so satisfied that as a musician, I'm like, we've kind of done everything I've wanted to. Like, we've done a certain album, we really pushed it on cities. Even our newer stuff that we put out a few years ago was like, we pushed it artistically for us. So now I'm like, yeah, I'm down to try kind of going more towards like what a nostalgic Anberlin would sound like to some extent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without it seeming forced or like hokey, so.
No, that's very fair and
Yeah,
valid.
new music for sure is in the works currently, so.
Well,
Cool.
thank you so much, Nate, for hanging out with us. If
a
you could just
pleasure.
give everybody the socials for Anberlin yourself so everyone
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
make sure that they hit this tour and they
Yeah.
listen to Nevertake.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, Anberlin on like Instagram, Facebook. My Instagram is no blades, no bows. It's from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. You know what's funny is when I got Instagram in like 2010 or whatever,
Yeah.
Nate Young was totally available. And I was like, that's lame. And I'm like, why didn't I do that? I literally had my name and I changed it.
Ooh.
Because now you can't do it. I mean, everything's
so many of
taken,
them.
yeah. But it's just funny. So yeah, no blades, no bows. Check out the dates, and if you're in the area, come out.
All right, awesome. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much,
Of
Nate,
course.
for giving us a day in the life
Of course. a
before you
pleasure.
go on stage tonight. We're excited to see you again.
Thank you so much.